The All-Star Resorts are some of the most disliked resorts at Disney World, and while I think some of the criticism is fair, a lot of the hate to me is overblown. So today we're doing a 12-minute tour of the All-Star Music to go over the lobby, the pools, the transportation, and the room types, because they have a room type here at the All-Star Music that I didn't even know was available at the All-Stars. Jump into this quick tour so you can decide if you would want to stay here and if you think it deserves the hate that the All-Stars get. When you pull up to the All-Star Music, you're going to be greeted with that giant star. Behind that is the lobby. This is where you're going to get dropped off from the airport, or if you rented a car and drove here, this is where you'll pull up to check into the lobby. If you did rent a car, you can drop off everybody at the lobby, and then if you go right over to there, there's going to be your 30-minute check-in parking. And then into the lobby. Now the All-Star Music lobby is a smaller lobby than you'll get at some of the other value resorts like Pop Century and Art of Animation. However, the hall itself stretches pretty long, so there is a lot of places to sit as you're waiting to check in. The left side of the lobby, you do have your little mailbox, restrooms, and telephones. Out to transportation here, and the gift shop over to your right. Check out the bus transportation. This is your Disney bus transportation loading zones. You can see a ton of shade, so you don't have to stand out in the sun until your bus pulls up. Unless it's super early in the morning, the bus lines then typically back up. So if you are rope dropping to park or getting there around park open, these lines will back up. You might be standing in the sun. Now the only Walt Disney World transportation that All-Star Music offers for free is the bus transportation. So no boats here and no Skyliner like the other value resorts, Pop Century and Art of Animation. At All-Stars, you just get bus transportation. The one winner here at the All-Star Music is you do get direct transportation to Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon. So it's one of the few resorts at Disney World that has a bus that goes right to the water park. So if you are planning a water park day, it might be beneficial to stay over here because you'll have direct transportation. At the other resorts, you typically have to take a bus to a theme park to get over here to go over to the water park, or have to pay to Uber or minivan. So even though you don't get all those elements of transportation, it's just buses, that is a small win here when it comes to transportation. All right, back inside to the end of the lobby here, we can go right into the gift shop. So this is going to be your standard hotel Disney gift shop. It's going to have merch you could find throughout the parks, but also right here. It's also going to have snacks and stuff for your hotel room, snacks and drinks. Have also sunscreen, Tylenol, allergy medicine, those type of things you might have forgotten. They do have that available here. They also have behind the register bottles of liquor. Cool. Theming that you have here at All-Star Music, I would say, is less theming than you'd find at some of the other value resorts. Down at the end here, you do have your Disney Hotel staple, an arcade, good for those rainy days. And you do have your intermission food court, which has a wide range of food. Kind of see some of the things they offer. They have sandwiches like pulled pork, grilled chicken, they got burgers, they got pasta, pizza, chicken tenders. Here's a look at some of the desserts they offer, as well as they got like salmons, chicken breast, meatloaf, sesame chicken. There's a lot of different options that you can have here, so it's actually a good food court, because typically the whole family can find something they're interested to eat after those park days, because you know you're going to be a little hungry. They all kind of have their own stations between desserts, the seafood, the burgers, the pizza, but then you pay it all one cashier. So everybody can spread out and order what they want and then meet at that cashier over there. Also a very good amount of seating, more than I thought, because this goes back pretty deep and you do have outdoor seating as well as seating up there by the front. So outside of probably the very main dinner time, you shouldn't have that much problem finding a seat to eat. Right, and now outside so we can explore the grounds of the All-Star Music. Right outside is the main guitar pool. We'll get a shot of that up top in a second. Right to the left you have your pool bar, which is actually funny because there's an indoor section you can pick up drinks too that I haven't noticed at other hotels. Maybe they have it, but I think that's a very cool addition that you can grab a drink as well while you're in the food court or outside right here. So here's the grounds for the All-Star Music. It's actually my favorite layout of the All-Stars, and I'll explain it as we go, but I think it's a good setup. There's only two pools here. The guitar pool right here, which I think is one of the biggest pools at any Disney resort. It's very big. And then you have the piano pool right here in the middle of the rest of those right there. So only two pools, so the pools do get a little busy as opposed to some of the other values that have three. This one specifically is a bigger pool. So we're gonna work our way through these first two sections and then go around up there. Here's another look at that pool right there. And right to the right of the pool, you're gonna have your bathrooms and then your laundry. So if you need laundry done while you're here, it'll be right outside of here. right next to the pool. Here's a better look at that calypso section. You have the guitar pool. You can see actually how long it really runs. It is a very big pool. Then they have a kid pool right here in the back. But these calypso sections, these are all gonna be the preferred rooms and family suites. Yeah, I said that, family suites at the All-Star. We'll talk more about that in the end of the video when we talk about the rooms, but yes, they have family suites here at the All-Star Music. All right, up next is the jazz section of the All-Star Music. Before we get into the grounds of the Jazz Inn, I just want to point out right to the left of it as you're walking up, there is a little playground right here to the side as well. Some groundwork going on, so it's a little louder than usual, but most of the time this is actually a peaceful place to walk around. This is also going to be your preferred rooms and family suites. So if you get a preferred room, but you want it to be typically a little quieter, I would request in the Jazz Inn section portion as opposed to the main pool portion. But if you want to be as close to the lobby as possible and close to that guitar pool, you'd request Calypso. Really nice area to walk through right in the main portion right here. Obviously no pool, but it's a nice area. And that's what cracks me up when people hate on the All-Stars here. They act like it's some like shady motel sometimes when people talk about the All-Stars. You're not, I don't know what motels you guys are staying at or Holiday Inns. You're not getting stuff like that at any of those. So the hate, this is where I'm like, some of the hate and criticism is just a little bit too forced for me, because this is a very nice section to walk through. Usual, but you can see it's Easter coming up and they're actually doing an egg hunt, poolside activities, decorate your own wooden egg for some money, a campfire, and some Easter festivities for the Easter holiday coming up. That takes us to our second pool, which is the piano pool, which is actually in the middle of 3 different sections that we have here. And you can see the signs right there. So we have Broadway over there, country straight ahead behind it, and rock over that way. Hours right now, also these are subject to change at any time, but right now it's 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Like I said, first up is the Broadway section right here. There's actually a little construction going on. They're doing some painting, it looks like. I would say the level of theming here, again, little less than what we've seen at like Pop Century and Art of Animation. So you do have some really cool billboards here for some of their Broadway shows that they've had that are Disney, like Aladdin, Lion King, and over there you have Frozen, Mary Poppins, and Beauty and the Beast. Some really cool photo ops if you want that. It is funny because you'll be taking a picture of it like you're at the Broadway musical, but you're just at the All-Star Music. So I don't know how desirable the photo ops are here compared to some of the other ones. This section, nice to actually walk around the trees and everything. It looks good, just the theming to me over here does feel a bit minimum. We're heading over now to the country fair portion. This is the far back of the resort. This is going to be your standard room area for sure. I think all 3 of these areas are standard rooms, but this for sure, this is going to be a far walk to the lobby. So up here is the booths we got here, and you have some instruments along the way and a nice picnic area and some shade. But outside of that, nothing super exciting here for a Disney resort. There's some chairs here, probably if you need to get out of the room, maybe make a phone call, anything like that. But they don't really look at much. So it's a nice area to probably just chill out if you need to get out of the room. All right, now heading over to this Rock Inn section. It's called the Rock Inn section of the All-Star Music. And this to me feels like the most fun, it's vibrant, most Disney section of it, even though it's not Disney themed. And that's subjective. Maybe if you really love country music and you don't like the rock section or vibrant colors, you'll find those areas more interesting. But to me, this is the most interesting and like Disney feel, all-star feel of it. The other 2 sections to me aren't as interesting. I think these might be one of the best photo ops they have here at the All-Star Music, combined with the guitars. And then you have this old Chevy as well right here for a nice little photo op. So let's talk about the room types. You do have your standard room. Now, we stayed at the All-Stars like 10 years ago. They have upgraded the rooms since then, and I think they're good upgrades. They're much more comfortable and much more modern, and I think they're a lot better. The preferred rooms as well, which still sleep up to 4, they're just gonna give you a better location in the resort as opposed to like the far back of some of these areas. Then you have the family suites, which I looked into because I didn't know they offered family suites at the All-Star Music. They're immediately gonna put you in the preferred section of the resort. It's gonna give you a full refrigerator and sleep up to 6. This might be an option if you're driving here, you got a family of 5, and you have a car where you could get some food to put up that fridge for the week, and you're just going for the cheapest family option here. I think this might be the move for you, especially if you're gonna be spending a lot of time in the parks. The main criticisms of the All-Star resorts as a whole, is they're typically more crowded and very loud and noisy. And that's because at like the All-Star Sports per se, and just at all of them as well, they're the cheapest rooms. So when you have tour groups, there's cheerleading competitions, sport competitions, and they stay on Disney property, they stay at these All-Star resorts. There definitely is gonna be a lot of noise and it can be crowded at times. Now, what I will say about the All-Star music compared to the other ones, and I have stayed here specifically as when I was coming here from Pennsylvania, it was very quiet then and it seems very quiet now. I think of the 3 All-Stars, the quiet one compared to as quiet as an All-Star can get. At least from my own personal experience, especially in these back portion of the rooms, it's very quiet. It is midday, so I'll give it that, but it is very quiet, and I remember it being quiet then. I didn't think it was that crowded or that noisy at the time. Now, I talked a lot about it as I was filming this, but there is very minimal theming here, and it's not that bad of a thing, but compared to all the Disney hotels, and especially the other values of pop and art of animation, the theming is definitely minimal. Let's say that about it. So if you're wondering how close these resorts are to each other, that's the All-Star Sports. So in conclusion, who is the All-Star Music and the All-Stars in general really for? Well, it is the cheapest room options typically. So the cheapest standard rooms, the cheapest preferred rooms, and the cheapest family suites you're gonna find at Disney. The All-Stars are simple. The theming is simple, the rooms are simple, the resort as a whole is simple. It is made for people who are gonna be spending the majority of the time in the parks. So if that is your family, if that is what your goal is to do, is to wake up early and get to the parks, stay there all day and come back late and just have a room to sleep in, that's the place to go. A good pool and some time to relax, yes, I think they have those. If you're doing a day at Animal Kingdom and want to go back to the pool and relax a little bit early, I think they have that, but overall, it's just for the people who are gonna be spending the majority of the days at the parks and enjoying their vacation and not relying on the resort for too much. That's what you're getting at these All-Star resorts, and specifically the All-Star Music. Hope you enjoyed this 12-minute tour. I appreciate you watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, it helps me out a ton, and I will see you on Sunday.